Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big Dog is in the house again. What's going on? You listen to the Chiefs KC Star podcast. Sports Beat KC, that's right. We're about to turn up in here. It's the 18. To my left, I've got Vahe Gregorian. I've got Blair Kerkhoff. I've got Sam Mellinger, and it's me, Terez, Paylor, your Chiefs beat writer. And we are in the building a few days after Christmas, and we are glad to be here. At least I am. I don't know about y'all. Y'all look a little tired to me. What's up? How y'all doing?
Well,
fantastic. There we go.
Look, I feel a little intimidated by your Detroit versus everybody sweatshirt. It's sort of making a statement.
That's the point. Yeah, that's the point of it. I'm trying to make a real clear statement about what's up. And I got a Detroit versus anybody shirt. That one's black. This one's a Detroit versus everybody one. This is blue. And I'm looking into another one. I'm thinking I'll go gray or red. I don't know, but I'll figure it out.
And which would be what? Detroit versus somebody?
Whoever dares.
Versus you?
Well, everybody, anybody, and somebody would be favored over Detroit.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Damn, I played myself on that one.
Can we tell the story about, I forgot where we were, but we were getting on a plane, and you had that sweatshirt on.
Tell the story.
And the flight attendant, this nice lady, looked at it and she said,
I don't know how nice she was, but go ahead.
Looked at that sweatshirt and she said, I don't know about those Lions, though.
You know what? That's right. I remember I actually wore the shirt the day after the Lions lost to the Packers on that Hail Mary. And somebody saw it and was like, not versus the Packers, though. So, yeah, you see, you get a good, healthy amount of derision.
Everybody's got jokes.
Everybody's got jokes. I played myself on that one. But that's all right. You're up where you're from, and that's just how it goes. Fellas, you happy to be in the studio today? How you doing?
Fantastic.
Not bad. Not bad.
Oh.
Look, I was thinking on the way in, I was thinking who wouldn't want to be listening to whatever marathon level we'll reach with this podcast with a nice hot cup of cocoa and stranded in their homes with this weather going on in Kansas City. This is going to be gold.
When you drive off into a ditch.
Yeah.
Listen
this is going to be playing.
Until the cops come.
We're going to help you stay warm while you're waiting in your car on the side of the road through this snowstorm because you slid off because Kansas City does not put salt on the streets. All right, let's get into this thing. It was a hard transition. It wasn't very smooth, but who cares? As we always do, we're going to kick off this 18 podcast with the recognition of the Chiefs' last game. Chiefs won yesterday over the Cleveland Browns, 17-13. Ugly game, certainly a bit of a trap game, but one that definitely brings some questions about this team headed into the playoffs. But before we start diving into the playoffs and kind of our takeaways from that game, let's first kick off. And this is a tough question because I certainly had a hard time picking one. But real quick, guys, who was your grown-ass man of the week?
You know, we talked about this in the press box yesterday, and I still can't come up with a guy. I mean, I really can't. I think you make a case. Look, if you have to give it to somebody, give it to Jeremy Maclin for surpassing 1,000 yards receiving. He had the first play of the game, I think, wasn't it? Didn't they have a completion to him on the first play?
They did.
And it ran a great route on the touchdown reception.
It's a great throw too.
And it was between three people. Great route, great throw, and best offensive moment for the Chiefs yesterday. I'll give it to Maclin.
I'd go with maybe. Don't we give it to him every week, Peters? Okay. Hey, look, that interception was humongous. I mean, and it came right after a rare mistake by Alex Smith. I guess the ball got deflected. So I'd give it to either him or Terez. You drilled into this a little in your game story. How about Alex Smith having the presence of mind to call that timeout, whatever it was he didn't like, that they reversed the flux capacitor and got the thing set right with the right, was a personnel package.
Yeah, they changed the personnel but kept the formation.
And one way or another, that led to the Maclin touchdown.
Well, okay, so first, I thought that Andy Reid made a smart point in his postgame calling out Ja Reed for that play he made.
Right.
That potentially he said save the game. I think that's a little bit dramatic. It was in the second quarter, right? I mean, it was early enough in the game that it wasn't,
It was
I don't know
first
that it
half, right?
saved
Yeah.
the game or whatever. But that was a heck of a hustle play for an offensive lineman. That sometimes if he didn't do that, you wouldn't call him out for a lack of effort. So I thought that was important. But I thought Alex Smith played really well.
Yeah.
Like for a guy, if you just look at his stat line, I think he threw for like 125, 127 yards, something like that. I mean, this is the dumbest compliment in the world, but like it's really hard to throw for 125 yards and play a better game at quarterback than he did. I thought he made like really good decisions, a lot of important scrambles, including one on fourth down. I think a couple conversions. I thought he played pretty well in the first half.
But
it was that kind of game. It was that kind of game that he's my grown-ass man of the game.
He didn't play much in the second half.
Yeah,
did a lot of watching
plays in the second half.
Did a lot of watching a 21-yard or 21-play drive. That was crazy.
Well, and piggybacking on that, I picked Alex Smith as well. I know I really kind of started incorporating the grown-ass man, fill in the blank, really in the middle of the season. And I feel like I use the phrase grown-ass man throw for literally every quarterback the Chiefs played except him up until this week.
Yeah.
I remember saying Tyrod Taylor with a grown-ass man throw.
He had some beauties in there.
Derek Carr had a grown-ass man throw. And then yesterday, Alex Smith, hey, that touchdown he threw to Macklin was between three cats.
Yep.
And that was a grown-ass man throw. That was a small window. There was some heat on it. Took some guts to make the throw. Kudos to him. That's why I gave it to him. But Vahe, you were going to say something.
No, just a quick question. It's a little off point, but going back to the Cleveland possession, the 12-minute, 1-second possession. I've never seen a longer possession, and of course, part of that was enabled by the fake punt. Again, deep in their own end. This is a little inside football, but that's what we do. What are opponents seeing that makes them want to go fake a punt inside their own 25 2 weeks in a row against the Chiefs?
Yeah, there must be something wrong there with the execution up front, or they see a gap in the formation or something. Whatever it is, I'm sure Dave Tobe sees it. I mean, he's about as detailed as it gets. So it's a trade-off they're making there somewhere, whether it's somebody's being undisciplined or the lineup is, or they're giving away just some weaknesses somewhere in the middle there. They see something, and they're not going to tell us what it is, but they see something. But whatever it is, for them to do it 2 weeks in a row, that tells me that the Chiefs know about it and that they kind of saw it as a trade-off to whatever benefit they've got of having the guy in there. So
what I thought was interesting too is and the Browns didn't have anything to lose doing that, so that's part of it. But Chiefs stopped it. Right, like the week before.
Yeah.
And the Browns saw that and then did it again. I mean, pretty gutsy. But again, they didn't have anything to lose, so I don't know, whatever.
Well, the thing to remember there is too, like 4th and 9 or 4th and 10. If your guys are bailing quickly, which I'm guessing that's what that is, like their linebackers and their linemen, they're bailing quickly to get back and protect. That's the trade-off they're trying to make. You're trying to get your guys back there quickly to set up a blocking wall to get a big return, because that's what Tobe wants. He wants the big return. And you're guessing the trade-off you're making there is that you're so far away that the running back or the up back or the punter or whoever isn't going to be able to make up that ground within the amount of time your guys will see it, recognize it, and get it. So that's my best guess about it. That wasn't bad. That's not a bad question. But, that's my best guess. Time to transition to the part of the show where I ask you guys a couple questions, and we just kind of talk a little bit about some of the major things that's going on with this team. First question is the playoffs. Chiefs obviously clinched the playoff berth yesterday. Second time in 3 years under Andy Reid. Let's just get this out of the way. Now, we're taping this on a Monday. The Broncos game is going to affect the playoff scenarios or whatever. This Broncos game is at night. You guys are probably listening to this after that game's played, but we'll talk about this in a way that is just fine, that it'll carry on throughout the week. And I think the thing to remember here is that no matter what happens at night, there's two scenarios that the Chiefs would be looking at, no matter what happens the rest of this regular season here. And it's that they can either win the division and face the Steelers, Jets, or Broncos at home, or go on the road and face Houston. And I got my opinion about what they should do. Let's run around this round table here and figure out, let's come to a consensus about what we think. will be the best course of action for the Chiefs. Start off with Blair. What do you think, my man?
Well, I'll tell you what I think, but let me just add one quick scenario, because you hit the two big ones. The third one, which is less of a possibility, is the Chiefs being the 6th seed, because what you gave us was the Chiefs being the 3rd seed, so they would be at home against Steelers, Jets, or Broncos. If they were the 5th seed, they would play the Texans on the road. But if they're the 6th seed, which could happen, if they lose to the Chiefs lose to the Raiders and the Jets win at Buffalo, then they're the 6th seed and they would go to the 3 seed, which is likely to be, which would be Denver at that point. Cool. So that's the third scenario. I thought about this. What would you? The easier game, of course, is at Texas. It just is. They're the opponent that is the most vulnerable, and yet I think you want to play a playoff game at home. I think you want to, with this team. This team is capable of winning a playoff game, maybe 2, maybe getting to the Super Bowl. And if that's the case, it shouldn't matter where you play or who you play. So if that doesn't matter, reward 75,000 fans. Let your home fans see what we think is a team that's capable of winning a playoff game. We can break down a potential Steelers or Jets or Broncos matchup, but I'm a little concerned. The Chiefs have played better on the road in the last month than they have at home, but still, bottom line for me is doesn't matter who the opponent is. Reward the fans. Play a home playoff game.
Vahe?
I don't have this number at the top of my head, but Andy Reid's road record is pretty close to his home record, especially since he's been here. I think. I mean, this year they're 5-3 on the road, 5-2 at home. Seems to me last year and the year before it was roughly that area. Blair makes a really great point, and it's an interesting distinction about what's good for the Chiefs and what's good for the city, right? I mean, of course we want to see a home playoff game. I mean, the energy, the juice in the city would be great, but I think it just comes down to the matchup. What matchup do you like best? And I don't know that home field is the advantage everybody thinks it is. I mean, it would be more fun for Kansas City if that happens, but I don't know. If you could draw it up, wouldn't you pick the team you match up with best and can handle?
Sam?
So I actually think I'm going to go a little bit off the road here. I don't think that a game in Houston is like a layup. I think the Chiefs have proven they can lose playoff games on the road or at home in the past. But I just think like going to Houston, I don't know. I just don't think that's a gimme at all. I think that's a difficult thing to beat a team twice. In their building twice. So I just lean, if it's close enough, and I believe it is close enough, except Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's the one team that I think, despite what happened yesterday.
I was going to say, except then you see what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
They seem vulnerable
against
too.
A dog team.
Yeah.
but that's a weird rivalry, so I don't know how that
that's
goes.
different.
It is.
So I would take the home game, just because if your goal is to win games in the playoffs and not just one game to get this, kind of embarrassing 22-year thing over with, then I think you want the home game. I think you want to win the AFC West. I think you want to be the division champs. You hang your banner. You finally the Broncos did not win the division. I think that's what you want, but part of that is I just don't think Houston is a gimme at all. So I would take the home game.
Well, this for sure. Wherever the first playoff game is, the second one would definitely be on the road.
Yeah,
because they can't be the first or the second seed, and those teams host the two winners of the wild card weekend. So, and you know how that works. If the Patriots are the overall number one, then they'll play the lowest or the worst remaining seed in Foxborough. Yeah. If the Bengals end up as the 2, they'll play the other team.
I'd also say this though too. Like we're talking about which matchup you want. Which, by the way, I wish we could talk to our like August 18th selves and say that, like, in 2 months you're going to be talking about which playoff team you want to, which
and after
game.
they win the first one.
yeah, which is utterly ridiculous. But I just, dang it, I made a good joke and now I forgot my train of thought. Okay. Terez, go.
Yeah,
I'll come back.
You played yourself.
I'm going to go to the old man side of the table now here in a second.
Sam, I actually have kind of come around to your line of thinking a little bit. The Texans game is not a layup. It's not a layup. But again, I mean, the playoff games are decided by your coach and your quarterback mainly. Like when it comes to the playoff time, you pick the team with the best coach and the best quarterback. Will J.J. Watt scare you? Yeah, he should. But the quarterback doesn't. And you know, I think that's a good matchup. But I'm actually with you. I say win out and let the chips fall where they may. I remember the 2007 Giants, they had that situation where, like, there was talk of, like, hey, do you rest your guys or do you play the Patriots? That was the undefeated Patriots team. Like, do you play them? And you played them, and they saw that they could play with them. Now, I know that's a completely different situation, but, like,
I hadn't thought about that.
You play to win, period.
Yeah. You
play to win. So I think no matter how it goes, you go into this Sunday trying to win. You start your starters, you go for it, and let the chips fall where they may. Now, obviously, I agree with you. The only team that scares me is Pittsburgh. You know, the only team that would scare me is Pittsburgh. You don't want a piece of Ben Roethlisberger in the playoffs. That guy could go anywhere and win. Mm-hmm. You know, but those other guys, you know, you can beat those cats here. Yeah. You know, so I just say, hey, win, let the chips fall where they may.
The other point I was going to make that I forgot because I'm an idiot is just that I think other than Pittsburgh, I think whoever they play, I don't know if they'll be favored. I think they would be favored. I think they would be favored against Denver. Maybe not in Denver if it was the 3-6. But I would feel good about the Chiefs beating any of those teams that we talked about, probably with the exception of the Steelers. And like we already mentioned this, but the Steelers proved themselves to be vulnerable.
Yeah, and the Chiefs, like you mentioned a minute ago, like they've come so far. Like, you know, 1-5 to 9 wins in a row, got a chance to finish 11-5. You know, I think in mid-October we were all talking about, okay, what kind of changes are going to be made here this offseason?
Yeah,
you know,
it's bonkers,
we're fielding questions. We were fielding questions about whether Andy Reid and John Dorsey would be let go. Mm-hmm. You know, whether the offensive line coach would be canned. You know, like that kind of stuff. That's the stuff we were feeling. Now, no one's talking about that because
Bob Sutton was fired like 4 weeks in a row by people.
Right, they were ready to see him go. They were ready for him to be out. Yeah. So my question to you guys is, how serious? Maybe you don't know. I vote on the 101 awards, and you know, you vote the AFC Coach of the Year, NFC Coach of the Year. My question to you fellas. What kind of case does Andy Reid have for Coach of the Year in the AFC? What do you think, Sam?
I think he's got a really strong case. I mean, I think we've talked about this in some ways, but I just think that it's rare for a 1-5 team to have it in them. Forget talent. I mean, you know, they do have talent. They did have talent, but to have it in them, like with just the fortitude to come back from that, you know, like. You know, at one point when they were maybe like 2-5, 3-5, it was like, oh, okay, if they get to 8-8, you know, the season isn't in complete waste. Like they salvaged something, but they had it in them to go from 1-5 to clinching a playoff spot before the last week of the season. And I think, look, I think players are the most important thing. You know, we talk about this with baseball all the time. I'm sick of talking about managers. It's players that do it. In the NFL, the balance is a little bit more toward the coaches, but I still think that the Chiefs have a really strong locker room with a few guys in particular that we talk a lot about. But I think that Andy Reid, without a strong coaching staff, because the Chiefs have had weak coaching staffs that have let these seasons get away from him. So I think he deserves a ton of credit. I mean, Bill Belichick has gone through a ton of injuries, and they're going to have the number 1 seed, but he also has Tom Brady.
Yeah, so let me focus this question a little bit more because it's obvious he does deserve recognition. So some consideration. Does he have a stronger case than Belichick or Marvin Lewis?
I think he does, just because if you look at what we thought this team would be before the season, might be about this, right? Mm-hmm. But it really has nothing to do with how the season unfolded. And that I can't get past that 1-5. I mean, I'd like to go – actually, I'd grit my teeth probably at going back and seeing some references I would have made to, you know, with this season being virtually over or whatever, you know, hopefully we hedged our bets a little bit. But
I don't think I hedged as much as I probably should have.
But, I mean, you know, a couple things bear mention here. Like Andy Reid in 3 seasons here has coached 2 of the longest winning streaks the Chiefs have ever had. 2 of the 3 longest winning streaks the Chiefs have ever had. If they win this Sunday, that'll be the longest winning streak in the history of the franchise. Not that has to dictate this, but the point is remember Alex Smith saying this earlier? I think it was in Oakland, how the team could splinter. with that kind of
He
record
said that
early.
a few different times,
He said it a few
actually.
different times. He said, somebody asked him if he'd been part of that. And he was kind of laughing and said, "Oh yeah." And so that
he's been
to
through
me
it.
is the achievement here.
Right.
And I get that everybody has injuries, but it's sort of just left to the side that they've been without their best player, I think, Jamal Charles, all season, and they've been without a couple of their best defensive players one way or another almost all along, right? Sean Smith suspended at the start, Tamba and Houston out now lately, Abdullah out. I mean, that's a lot for coaches to steer these guys through.
Yeah, and that everything you just mentioned is like part of the reason. Like I gave that a lot of thought because I know how hard it is in this league to come back from 1-5. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Business decisions get made. Guys start worrying about money. Guys stop selling out for the team because you worried about the green, right? They just stopped doing that. And it was really impressive that there really weren't like leaks and like, fingers being pointed through anonymous sources and stuff. Like that stuff happens, man, and it didn't happen here. I mean, it's happened here before too.
Oh my gosh!
So, I mean, you've been there. I mean,
Yeah.
So look, man,
the case against Andy Reid, the case maybe it's not a case against Andy Reid, but the case for Belichick or for Todd Bowles or whoever it would be that. Look, man, if you're such a great coach, don't go 1-5.
Exactly.
Don't
like,
start
don't
off
be in
like
the hole.
that.
Right.
But which is fine. That's great. And Belichick has coached his way through a ton of injuries and all that, and they're going to have the number 1 seed. And I don't want to do how in the NBA they used to give the MVP to anybody but Jordan for a while.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, well, yeah, but who else? Like,
right.
Who else can we all know about Jordan? I hope that that's not where my mind is on Belichick, that like, yeah, they're just the Patriots and that's what they should do. But man, I just think it's pretty rare to find something of like a duplicate for what the Chiefs have done, and not just the 1-5 thing, which obviously is the 1970 Bengals or whatever. Like it's only been done once before, but just the injuries and everything else.
Sure. All right. Last thing I kind of got for you guys that I want us to explore a little bit. Early in the season when they were struggling, man, there were some arrows being fired at many position groups. The offensive line, in particular, is one. Cornerbacks a little bit as well. My question for you guys is like, which assistant coach, excluding the defensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator, which assistant coach has kind of impressed you as far as being able to get the most out of the position group this season, right? And I think some guys come to mind. I mean, Bieniemy lost Jamal Charles at running back.
That was the first one that came to
Yeah,
my
me
mind.
too.
So
that was my first one. So
and then the offensive line a little. But go ahead, like Blair, you got somebody?
Well, I'll let someone else speak to Eric Bieniemy for the point that you just made, but I'll go with Andy Heck. Everybody was down on this offensive line early on, and when we talk about the 1-5. That's kind of what I looked at first, and there was no single culprit here. It was if there was a culprit, it was how come they didn't have their kind of act together in training camp? What was training camp about if you couldn't come out with a better offensive line, a better starting offensive line? We're 6 weeks into the season, and he was absolutely on the chopping block, wasn't he? He was the guy that had to go, and that's where the change had to be made. But then the team starts winning, and I think they did some scheming around the offensive line. They were able to do some things offensively where they didn't need a dominant offensive line. But I think we're to the point now where it's beyond serviceable. It's a plus. It's you look at the injuries that they've had to deal with and other issues. They seem to have 7 core guys that anywhere. Their versatility is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I think that this is shaped up as a strength for this team, and you look at the coach.
Can I piggyback on that a little? I just want to say this: the attitude those guys play with now was not there last year or the year before. Okay, Jeff Allen saw him mixing it up with a few guys
early on yesterday.
Early on, making it real clear what kind of game that was going to be. Andy Heck deserves credit for that, and I think Andy Reid does too. I think that's a former offensive line coach that my hunch is former offensive line coach that kind of helped make sure things got together there, whether by applying pressure to Andy Heck or by doing it himself. You just never know. but it is impressive where that group, the strides that group has made as far as picking up blitzes and that kind of thing. Vahe?
Mostly, I would just agree with Blair, but I'll be your transitional point to Sam. Charkandrick West. I can't think of many guys that were less celebrated, heard of, known commodities that have meant more to this team particularly, but to many teams. I mean, just off the charts, literally. Where was he from? How did he get here? All that, which to me speaks to Bieniemy. It has to speak to Bieniemy in some ways. So I'd be interested to hear what Sam says about that. But
well, I'm doing a 60-second pivot here because Bieniemy was the first name that came to my mind. But then I thought of, in particular, that touchdown run that he had in Baltimore that was all blocking. And the blocking was terrific. And so then I thought about Andy Heck, but then you guys make a good point that Andy Reid certainly shares in that credit in that. And then my mind goes to Emmett Thomas. Like, I want to stick up. Oh, sorry, Terez. I want to stick up for him a little bit. I mean, I think that, what they've done in the secondary, Marcus Peters, the way he's come along in his rookie year. And again, I think players should get the credit. They get the credit and the blame. But, certainly a guy with that kind of experience, has been very valuable.
And I would also add Al Harris.
Yeah.
Al Harris is right in the mix there. We're getting Peters in the mix. Because Peters came in with the reputation of being hard to coach.
Yeah.
But he's listened to those guys. Like, you could tell during camp. There was no talking. We were able to watch practices. We were able to watch to see how those guys interacted on the field. There was no talking back to Al Harris. He listened to the guy. And you just got to assume that's continued on. And he definitely shares a role in Peters' breakout season, I would think.
One other thing with the line, it's just, and it's obvious really, but it still bears mention. Alex Smith is a different quarterback when he gets just a microsecond more protection, right? It affects everything in the sequence. And the difference between, running for his life early, and you can make a case that he might have seen things that weren't there at times, but you also can't blame him for being
seeing ghosts.
Perpetual ghosts around him.
Yeah. After the beating he took last year.
That's all, and especially after last year. So it makes all the difference. And I've gone up and down on him all along, and this isn't about him really, but I see him as a much different commodity now than I ever have, and maybe we can spend some time on him later. But
you know what? No, we'll spend some time on him now. Like, do you have any more thoughts on like this guy's growth? Because like I feel like in every city, the quarterback position is the most scrutinized guy. Yeah, he's always the most scrutinized guy, but like, over the last 9 games or 8 games or 7 games, whatever you want to say, I don't know if there's a whole lot of negatives you can take away from what that guy's been doing. He's been escaping trouble. He's been throwing the ball downfield, and he's had a few more interceptions lately, but for the most part, he's taking care of the football. I mean, how far have you seen that guy come?
Well, you've gotten deep into this on his running game, but that was a couple of weeks ago. But every week it comes up one way or another, and that's just not a dimension everybody has because he does it with such intelligence. But the other thing, all 4 of us yesterday, we kept noting how many times they went downfield, and look, I mean, he doesn't have the greatest arm you've ever seen, but he's got a good enough arm to air it out, and I think that's been dispelled now. And the only other thing I just want to add is. Let's remember, I mean, he had the 49ers a game from the Super Bowl, if not for a couple fumbled punts.
That's right.
I mean, they may or may not have won that game, but the game was lost with that. And he played the game of his life in the only playoff game he's had with the Chiefs. So I guess the key focus point here is he good enough to take him close to the promised land? And I say he is.
Something that I remember Sam saying yesterday when we were doing the video was the Chiefs have had 3 consecutive winning seasons for the first time since, was it 95, 96, 97?
Yeah.
The Chiefs didn't have the same quarterback in those years, did it?
No, I think you're right. Yeah, I think there was a Bono in there and there was a Gerback in there.
So how long has it been since they've had the same starting quarterback for 3 straight winning seasons?
Might be the radio broadcaster.
Yeah, might be.
Wow.
Probably is.
Right? I mean, without looking it up.
Was only here for 2 years.
And there were no winning seasons in between.
I mean, I don't know if DeBerg was there 3 years in a row. I'd have to look that up.
Maybe like 8. I know he was there in '89. Yeah. If it's not DeBerg, I think you got to go back to Dawson.
Yeah.
And I think that's that's quite a testimony to Alex Smith.
Absolutely. All right, it's time to have a little bit of fun in here. We've got got some classic segments that we've been rolling on that we're going to continue to do. Then we got a new one later on. I want you to hang on. You're going to enjoy it. But first we'll crank out the first kind of fun segment we've got, our weekly scouting term of the week. And this one, I think you guys should get it, but I'm not sure if you will. The term of the week is a one-pop daddy. A one-pop daddy. Can anybody guess what that means?
Are we sure this is a football term? Football's not. I was thinking of something else.
Get your mind out the gutter, Sam.
A one-pop daddy.
Any idea what position that would relate to, fellas?
It makes me think of one-trick pony, which makes me think of kicker, but that's probably ridiculous.
That's off.
I was gonna go return specialist.
Nope.
Well, our award-winning producer, Chris Fickett, pantomimed a running back, and I think that's what makes the most sense to me.
Nope.
Blame Chris. He's God. I tried to tell him.
What does Chris know?
It's an offensive lineman who doesn't sustain blocks. So he comes off his block, he gives him a good shot.
Good one.
But he can't hold on to his blocker. The guy sheds him. That's a one-pop daddy.
So I'm remembering card-carrying coward. And I'll remember one-pop daddy. What was our one last week?
What was the one last week? You guys got it, whatever it was. It was really quick.
Might have been a D-back, but now I'm going the wrong direction.
Traffic cop.
Yeah, linebacker.
Middle linebacker, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got an update.
Let's go. Let's hear it, brother.
Steve DeBerg, from 1989 to 1991, was the quarterback with but 3 straight winning seasons.
Right, and they were in the playoffs in 90 and 91.
Yeah, one of them was 8-7-1.
Yeah,
but still,
Marty's first year.
That's a winning season.
All right.
So,
All right. Fair enough, man.
But before that, it was the radio broadcaster.
Whew.
That's
That's
long
how you
time.
win one Super Bowl in 50 years. Jeez.
That's exactly
Jesus. Yeah, that joke went over. I'm happy about that. All right, time to play who you play for. And I picked some more recent guys, fellas.
I don't think that's going to help.
I picked some more recent guys, and I think you'll be fine. And let's start off with a nice, easy one.
Will you ask us Demps again this week? Please.
No, you guys would be fine. I mean, these are guys from the 2012 team, right? In fact, here's the easy one. Kendrick Lewis.
Oh, we just saw him.
Ravens.
Baltimore, yeah.
Yep. Boom, 1 for 1.
I get that.
All right. I'm giving it to Vahe. I'm giving it to Pops. Sorry, fellas.
Papa.
Yeah. Here's the second one. Jeff Schwartz. Anybody remember where Jeff Schwartz?
Giants, right?
That's right. 2
Yeah.
for 2.
Giants.
Uh-oh.
Hey. Boom.
Uh-oh. Ryan Suckup.
Tennessee still?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
3 and 3. All right.
Wow.
See? We've made it a little. You guys are doing what you're supposed to
I
do.
believe you and I have gotten all of these. And
Yeah, this doesn't add up.
Beat me by milliseconds
It'll
on
fit,
the.
it'll dovetail nicely into what I anticipate as our next segment.
That's right. Hang on for it. It's coming. 2 more, fellas. Trying to go for the perfect 5 for 5. Tyson Jackson.
Oh, I'm not going to get that.
Jacksonville.
Is this a trick question?
No.
No.
we had one of those.
No trick questions this week.
Okay.
Nope. The Falcons. The Falcons.
That makes sense.
All right.
With his boy.
Yep. Last one. Everybody liked him for a little while. Tony Moiaki. Who he play for?
Oh, he was just here too. Last year he played here.
Not for that team anymore, though. That's a hint. Somebody want to venture a guess?
Is he on somebody's IR? Is that the? Sorry.
No.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I got nothing. Tampa Bay.
Nope. Falcons again.
I almost guessed that.
All right. 3 for 5. Not bad.
Can I interrupt with something real
What's
quick?
up, my man?
Jeff Schwartz would have come into our discussion last week about good guy in the locker room.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Jeff is the best.
Wasn't he
Jeff
great?
is the best.
Yeah.
Another guy that should have been mentioned is Kendrick West. One of
Yeah.
the nicest guys Great guy.
Terrific guy.
Really lights up that room with his energy, and he's just so happy to be there. That's another guy. All right, time for the new segment, and I think you guys are really going to love it. This one is the brainchild of Blair Face Kerkhoff, and this is going to be a hit, I think. It's our old man football segment brought to you and by
Lucky Strike. First again with Tobacco Man. First again with Tobacco Man.
All right. So if you can't guess what, so basically here are the rules.
We did not smoke.
Yeah.
Girls warning.
So basically, here's the rule. Here's the rules for our old man football segment, and we're gonna pit two of our ace reporters against each other every week. Next week it'll probably be me versus you, Sam. But this week we're gonna go with the two old men in the room, Vahe and Blair. And what they're gonna do is we're gonna give each of them 30 seconds, maybe a little more, but 30 seconds at least to make a point about football that from back in their day. Just you guys have a lot of wisdom. We want you to share it with the world. Give us your football takes. And Sam has the clock. So
Well, as old men, we don't adhere to the clock. We're on our own time here.
But that's digital anyway. What does that mean? I don't understand.
And first of all, there's still some controversy about the Surgeon General. I don't think they've proven anything.
Yeah, define prove.
Well, we got into this last week because we were talking about, or a couple weeks ago, how differently people consume football today. When we were young, I was into football cards and you were into cards and other things, and that's just not, kids don't do that anymore. That's not how they consume football. And this was brought home to me again today when we're looking at the NFL schedule for Week 17, and all of a sudden games are moving all over the schedule. You get flexed from one time to another, from one network to another. When you were a kid, you were lucky to get one game. You got one game a week
On one of three networks.
right? and it was either the AFL on NBC. AFL on NBC or CBS had the NFL game, and now it's now you can watch. There are multiple incredible ways to consume your pro football product. That was my rant.
all right.
Well, look,
Vahe.
Game a week.
look,
And we had to walk to our neighbor's house who had the television set.
Vahe, you're next.
look,
Time
this
starting
is,
now.
All right, this is inspired by who he played for last week. Back when pride still mattered. You did not have to worry about who he played for because you knew the name of every guy on every team. There were fewer teams. What was it, 28, 26? But not only that, there wasn't this free agency thing allowing them to make money and switch teams.
You remember when it was a really big thing when Johnny Unitas finished his career with the Chargers?
Yeah, an atrocity.
Yes.
Or Joe Namath with where was Joe Namath with the Rams?
Yeah, it was. What was that?
Yeah. So back when pride still mattered, you stayed with your team.
5 seconds.
That's all. And we knew who everybody played for, all right?
That was a
Punks.
team rant. That was beautiful.
That absolutely hit the mark for what I wanted. And I got to tell you, I think the winner is Blair. Blair, congratulations. You win this week.
Stupid flex.
Just, I'm 100% with you. I'm 100% with you. And that's
So wait, is the goal to persuade you guys to buy our
I'm
argument?
going to be
Is
the
that point?
judge. I'm the judge in this one.
All right.
And then next week, you guys would be the judge.
And what is the prize? Is it like just an old pair of slippers? Is it like? What does Blair get?
A newspaper.
A newspaper
Perfect.
subscription right to your door. All right, we'll keep score just like they're doing around the horn, that goofy stuff. It's for pride. So, that's good. All right, Good job, guys.
It's funny because it's true.
I know. Oh, boy. All right, time and part of the show where we take reader mail. It's the Ask the 18 portion of the show. Let's go. All right, the first one we've got here is from Krebs Brandon. He asked the A-team, should we be worried about the Chiefs, about whether or not the Chiefs can win in the playoffs? And obviously that question is based off their performance yesterday. My question for you, so I'll just ask you guys, just to simplify it here. Did that performance make you more concerned about their ability to win a playoff game? Yes or no?
Not me.
Okay.
Sam said something, although I think Sam might disagree with this, but Sam, you said something yesterday that made me think about that. It was a great term. Now I can't remember what it was, but playing to the score, playing to the opponent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think there was a little of that going on. I think we underestimate that a little, but I don't think we do underestimate that they go vanilla once they think they've got it.
More than
and maybe they go
most
vanilla
teams.
too early.
Yeah.
I think that's the signature maybe of that Colts playoff game. I mean, I don't think they went vanilla, but to me, yesterday actually helps them, I think, because, look, nobody's going to expose their inability to contain more than Johnny Manziel with the eyes in the back of his head and on a day where you don't have Tamba in Houston. So I think it helps them sort that part out. Anyway, I'm digressing, really. Yesterday doesn't concern me. The history concerns me.
Yeah, it made me less confident, but not by a huge amount. And I still think that I still expect them to win a playoff game. I understand that they're playing without. I'd like to see them play Johnny Manziel with two badass edge rushers and see how much he's running around the field with those two guys. But it's the offense that concerned me. And you know, the 21 play drive, and I do think they went vanilla a little bit, but still the Browns were 26th, I think, in the league in yards given up. They were giving up 4.6 yards per rush, and the Chiefs couldn't get anything going on the ground. So that concerns me. But you know, the best analogy that my dumb little brain can come up with is that it's disappointing, it's less confident, but in the way that a good student comes home and he passes a class with a C-. Still passed the class, you know, in the grand scheme, still a good student.
Is there something wrong with that? Is that an issue?
Well, I said good student.
I wasn't paying attention.
Right.
Look, I think you can explain away. They scored 17 points in the first half and had 200 total yards. I think the offense is fine. The defense, you can explain. They without Houston, Holly, and Abdullah, that's an issue. I think I was a little concerned about special teams yesterday. You know who's in a little bit of a slump is Dustin Colquitt.
Right, after I jinxed him.
Yeah. When they needed a couple of booming punts, he kicked a couple of 39-yarders. They had Nile Davis bringing, after that 21-play, 12-minute drive, Nile Davis brings the ball out of the end zone, had no business bringing it out of the end zone where he was and the way he was going. And then Sorensen blocks in the back, and the Chiefs start at the 3. So I think there were some special teams issues, and we obviously the fake punt they weren't ready for. Just little things that I think need to get cleaned up as they've been so good for so long in special teams.
Yeah, and I joke about me jinxing Colquitt. I wrote that story about his ability to drop punts inside the 20 like maybe a month ago, and then lo and behold, he starts having trouble doing that. But
yesterday was a freak win day too.
Right,
I mean, for him.
But I mean, he'd been having a few issues like leading up to that in the games prior to that. But he's listed on the injury report with a knee thing, so he's dealing with an injury as well. It's actually funny you mentioned that. Our next question is from JW90, who mentioned, "Hey, what's going on with the special teams coaching? Way too many mistakes, which will be magnified against playoff teams." And by the way, this is a common thing among our Ask the 18 questions. People not real happy despite 9 straight wins. Not real complacent. They're really weren't not thrilled about recent performances. But you know, Dave Tobe does have a good reputation. There's got to be a sense that at some point he'll get it together. But at this point, is this like a real thing? Is there like a real danger of this special team stuff not getting taken care of, guys?
I don't think so. But one thought that I've had is that they're not attacking with special teams anymore the way that it seemed like. Remember 2013? It was like there was something always percolating there. Like they're a threat to score every time, and I know I'm getting hung up on Frankie Hammond, but he shouldn't be returning punts.
I don't trust him.
And
No.
and at best, they hope he's, holding ground or just not fumbling and getting a few yards. I mean, I realize they don't really hope that, but that's all we've seen. They don't have anybody that's going to try to make a play there. I know Thomas is still out, and I know we have disagreement maybe about whether you want to use Macklin there before the playoffs, but maybe Macklin needs a game back there before the playoffs. I'd like to see them do something to go more on the attack, obviously, as well as clean up stuff.
I love Jeremy Macklin. I'd be afraid. I think I mean that literally. I would be afraid to use him in that situation where he might get blown up. I wouldn't want to mess with that. If DeAnthony Thomas is going to be back next week, I would ride there. But, yeah, I mean, I think special teams can be a concern. It's just dumb decisions, too, like, bringing the ball out at times and stuff like that. But, yeah, I think it's a concern. But it's not – I mean, like, here's another thing. Like, look, well, this is not a special teams comment. We can get back to this. Blair, you got something? Or you want me to go?
No, well,
I'll continue my rant
quick,
then.
They at least cleaned up the place kicking issue that they had a few weeks ago.
Winchester got that squared away.
So that's,
Hey, and like, what, Santos had a nice day. All
he
all
did.
things considered.
In that wind,
He had that field goal into the wind.
Managed the wind.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, and they blocked a field goal
Right,
too.
yeah.
Sorensen blocked a field goal. The first one, I looked this up, they hadn't blocked a field goal
Since 07.
07.
Yeah. It's
Wow,
a
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
God.
All right, so now I will
Continue
continue my
rant.
rant. Everything, like, because I got a tweet last night about when is somebody finally going to call out the gutless coaching of Andy Reid? And I'm like, they haven't lost since, October 11th or October 18th when they played. Like, let's like have some perspective about, and I know I'm the one that said I'm, a little bit less confident, but these are all first world problems. This is, my filet is, slightly undercooked or whatever. Like, this is not like, and if you look around the AFC, nobody has, there are no boats without holes. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got some problems that they're dealing with, and what the Chiefs are dealing with, relative to the rest of the league, I think is fine. It's not that big of a deal.
Can I switch back to Niall Davis? I didn't see the way he caught that ball in the end zone, but I think you did. And was he still drifting side to side or moving backwards?
He was both. It was one of those. There's no obvious touchbacks anymore because they could be at the back of the end zone and they'll bring it out. But he was working away from the blocking. He should not have brought the ball out. And then Sorensen complicated the matter with his block in the back.
Well, just to fuse that together with a little old man football addendum. Back in our day, Terez, same with playing outfield, by the way. You're going to be situated where you're going to be running into the ball. You're going to be, and we've seen Niall Davis go 108, right, or whatever that ridiculous thing is.
Back.
But it was getting the proper footing beforehand, and he's just got to be smarter than that.
Well, keep this in mind. Niall Davis can't market himself to another team if he's not bringing the ball out of the end zone, can he?
And I was definitely very interested in showing what he can do. Like, that dude does want to play. So, like, I was joking about this with him, but, like, I remember his first game back in the lineup, like, he fielded that ball like 9 yards in. And I was just like, nah, I knew you were going to take that thing out. He was like, yup. It was great. There was, like, no way he wasn't bringing that thing out. Look, man, these guys only get – he's only guaranteed one
time
chance.
He touches the
right.
ball.
Yeah, he's only guaranteed one way to touch the ball. So, yeah, I understood that for sure. All right, we winding things down here. A few more questions. This is interesting. Common theme, too. I love wins. This is from K Boutro 0. I love wins, but after the last 2 weeks, do you guys feel like the offense needs to reevaluate some things? I'll start off by saying I think they're just playing vanilla. I think they're just playing possum. You do what you have to do to win every week, but you don't show the whole host. You don't use all your bullets. Against teams you don't have to use them against. I'm sure Andy Reid had a pretty good sense. You're playing a bad Baltimore team. You're playing a bad Browns team. You don't have to use all your creative stuff. The question is, do you break it out this week against Oakland? That's the question. I tell you what, if we don't see some more creative stuff this week, yeah, I think it's time to be a little concerned because they should use it this week. I don't care what happens against Denver. Like, they need to try to win this game to go in the playoffs with some momentum and win 10 straight in a row. Like, that's what you're doing, right? You're playing to win the game, right? I think it's important to try to win this thing.
This is a small point. Maybe it's too obvious to even mention, but the vanilla thing, it's boring, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's their strength. It plays to their strength. They've got a quarterback that makes good decisions and protects the ball. They've got a really, really good defense that can score itself, The defense can create points. So in some ways, vanilla is a smart strategy. All that said, I do think they've been holding some things back, and they probably will let loose a little bit. I think some in Oakland, or not in Oakland, but you know what I mean, against Oakland, but certainly for the playoffs.
All right, next question. And this one's from KC Chiefs _58. If Tamba Hali and Justin, and I'm gonna switch up your question a little bit to make it work here. If Tamba Hali and Justin Houston were healthy enough to play this week, would you play them?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. I don't know if I would. I don't. Those are the guys. Those are the guys you absolutely have to have you absolutely want in the playoff. In fact, next to maybe along with Alex Smith and Jeremy Maclin, if you had to pick players 1 through 5 who you absolutely wanted to have in a playoff game,
Houston.
They'd be Houston and Ali, the way he's played. Gosh, so I don't if they're if they're 90% this week, I don't play them. I just don't.
Vahe.
I started off giving the opposite answer, and I'm persuaded by Blair's point that they're in the playoffs, and look at the trouble we're having determining what would be the best matchup for them. I mean, the point is they're in the playoffs. Be as ready, as sound, as good, as healthy as you can for the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd play them. I guess I'm going the other way, just because I think being the best team in the playoffs, I would feel a little bit more comfortable having them go a week, And the key part of that question was healthy enough to play. If they're going to be limping around, if it's don't force it. But if they're healthy enough to reasonably be strong, be out there, then maybe not every snap or whatever. But yeah, I'd want them to get some run.
Okay, so no player's 100% at this time.
Sure.
Best case scenario, you're feeling 90%.
Yeah.
Well, let's say both guys are 80%. Do you play them?
I would. Yeah.
You guys wouldn't.
I don't like 80 on this. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I think for the same reason I don't want Maclin returning punts.
Yeah.
Not against Oakland.
Yeah. Not until 2 weeks from now.
And
okay.
by the way, I mean that point only if Thomas remains out too, because I think Thomas is good enough.
I want Maclin back there returning punts in the playoffs if Thomas isn't back. But and you know what, Sam, I think I was kind of with you about having these guys play. But I do know this, like that knee sprain is like a real thing.
Yeah.
That's something else that can be aggravated too. And then Tamba's got the bulky knee, and rest has been good for him. God, I'm the guy that just said go all out to try to win the game. But Jesus, but those guys are too important. I wouldn't play them. But you know what? I would go all out to try to win the game through my play calling. I think it's important to win the game that way. But those two, you're gonna need them no matter who you're facing. So yeah, I think that's the best way to go about that. But Sam, I see that point though, man. I definitely think it's important to obviously try to win the game. And kind of looking forward a little bit, we got a Jets question, and this is also concerns your favorite player, Sam. If the Chiefs win the division, do you think our cornerback duo can outdo the Jets receiver duo? Jets have Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker. Those guys are playing their asses off. Where do you guys come out? Can Sean Smith and Marcus Peters battle those cats?
Be a hell of a matchup. I mean, it's I'm going to be looking forward. I mean, we're seeing it again. We talked about it before they played the Raiders a few weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, I think that you'd rather play a team with crappy receivers. You know what I mean? But if you're the Jets, I think you're looking at it like, wow, we have these two badass receivers, but that sucks because they've got two really good cornerbacks too. We'd rather play a team with strength on strength, and to win a playoff game, you have to do that.
Yeah, they can. The Jets are
they're a good team.
They're good. Like they give you some
team.
reason to worry. Mm-hmm. Like Bowles was a good defensive coach.
Yeah,
they're aggressive. But I don't know if Fitzpatrick scares anybody. But he's getting the ball
having a good year.
He's having a good year, and he's getting the ball out to guys. Vahe, what do you?
The only thing I was going to say is I don't think it's going to be, one gets the W and one gets the L. I think it's going to be a lot of jousting and some wins by each. And maybe there'll be a crucial one at the end, but I think it'll be a spectacle. It'll be great.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun too. I think Marshall and Decker are really good, and I think the Chiefs corners obviously are really good. It's going to be that's going to be a draw, and whatever that'll be, it'll be like a majority decision or something, or it won't be a knockout, that's for sure. All right, last question, guys. This was from Richard Bolter. How impressive a job have Andy Reid and John Dorsey done with 3 consecutive winning seasons? And do we really need like another year of playoff experience before Chiefs can be Super Bowl contenders? So let's just break that up. The first part, whoever wants to say something, like who's got some thoughts on John and Andy and the job they've done the first 3 years here?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing that they've done is bring stability and credibility. And, that's the one thing that Clark Hunt, when he took over the team for his dad, that he talked about, of having a consistent franchise. He always talks about the Steelers. And for, what was that, 06? So from 06 to 12, for the first 6 or 7 years of that, he had everything but consistency. I mean, it was that team was a circus. I mean, it was, infighting and all kinds of problems. And to me, that's the biggest thing. They've turned the culture. John Dorsey and Andy Reid had good players on that roster when they took over. And, Scott Pioli is a curse word in Kansas City, but he did leave the new leadership group with some good players, but he also left it with a broken culture, and that's the most important thing that they've fixed.
What was the second part of that question?
Blair, give us some thoughts on the whether or not the Chiefs need another year of playoff experience before they can make a Super Bowl
Well, this
run.
speaks to what Vahe wrote this morning, I think, and that's do we look at this like Royals 2014 or Royals 2015?
That's a good point.
Do you?
That's a good question. Answer it.
Do
What do you
you?
think?
Yeah, Vahe. What? I thought it was a really good point. Is this the happy to be here? We're we'll take any progress we can take in this postseason, or do the Chiefs act like the Royals of 2015 and say it's not enough? It's just not enough to to just get there.
Vahe, you wrote about.
I did, but this is also making me think more about baseball, and we've sort of joked among ourselves about our tentative plans and about the 6th inning in Houston, and part of the plans we were drawing up for that elimination game for the Royals involved is the season a whole a waste because they didn't actually come through, and how everything backfired at the end that they did. And I guess my point is, I don't quite think we'd call it a waste of a season, right, if they get to the playoffs. I mean, it after what they came back from. But I think Blair is right. I think we're a year away from seeing that they can be a Super Bowl team. Now, look, they can surprise us, and hopefully they won't surprise us with finding another way for a trapdoor to fall open and some just baffling, crazy loss. But the flip side is I contend that anything's possible, and anything's possible. So I don't think they have to win a game this year to be able to go to the Super Bowl, but I think that's a more likely scenario, that they'd be better off for one more year of experience.
Sam?
I think no matter what, they've accomplished something real this season. So I don't know if I'm just having like an issue with like the construct of the question. I know I take these things too literally sometimes. But I don't think that you need to build this year to have a Super Bowl run next year. I think it's all wide open enough that screw it, just do it this year. Like there are no perfect teams. Everybody's got flaws, and the Chiefs are dangerous. If we were sitting here in a different city, we'd be like, "Geez, the Chiefs! They haven't lost since October, like that." And look at all the talent on that defense. Like the Chiefs are legitimate. They shouldn't be happy to be there, and that's what I was glad to see yesterday. There was I think a C- effort, and they seem to know it.
And you know what? I'll say this. I think a month ago I said that they'd probably need to win a playoff game and then lose and learn from that, and then come back next year and just kind of set up your Super Bowl run next year. But being around these guys a little more, I actually kind of think that they learned their lesson in that Indianapolis playoff game.
They've been there. Yeah.
I think they've been there. Like this group's been there together through that, and they kind of learned the importance of finishing teams off. I think that Super Bowl run is more open now than it was a month ago. I'm more willing to believe in that now than I was, just because they really don't seem content with a lot. You know, they did celebrate the win yesterday pretty good, but by the time we got in there, it was really normal. And this wasn't some crazy celebration. It was just normal. And that, if you're a Chiefs fan, I think that's a good sign because it means that they expect more from themselves and they expect more from themselves going forward as well. So, good questions this week, guys. We appreciate you guys chipping in as always. That's why we love you. Appreciate you guys coming in here, braving the elements, do this podcast. We're getting good feedback from people, and it's a lot of fun for us to kind of bring this stuff to you. This is the time of the show where we give you a chance to plug your stuff, guys. Anybody got something interesting coming this week? I'll kick off. I got a story on Macklin for Wednesday, just about him, cracking the 1,000-yard barrier. Only the fourth receiver to do that under Andy Reid as a head coach.
That's surprising. 17
years. I know he spreads the ball around so much, but and actually what I kind of said a few minutes ago about them not being satisfied, part of the reason I think that is Macklin, because just 1,000 yards, not even phased, not at all. He's more worried about winning. He's in his prime, and he made that real clear. I actually believe him when he said he wasn't fazed by cracking 1,000 yards. He didn't seem satisfied at all. But that'll be out in Wednesday's Star. Check that out. Anybody else got something they want to plug?
I hear they're playing Sunday, so I guess we'll cover that. No, I guess this is a week we're still trying to figure some things out, some moving parts.
All right. You can follow us all on Twitter, Terez, Paylor, Sam Mellinger, Vahe Gregorian, Blair Kerkhoff, and on Facebook too. Sam and I had those Facebook pages. You can hit me up at TPKC Star. What's yours, Melly?
Just my name, Sam Mellinger.
Sam Mellinger.
Yeah.
All right. And we're gonna skip the prediction of the week. We're gonna get out a little rest because I enjoyed the old man football segment.
We were approved, Blair. That's big.
The teamwork on the rant was really beautiful. That's what I like.
That was fantastic.
So what are you singing this week?
I'm not singing anything this week, man. That's got to come naturally. Okay. You can't command a performance. What you want me to do. But I will say this: I do want a sponsor. I'm still looking for my sponsor for this podcast. This thing is straight fire. We need to have somebody come sponsor it,
I do think you'd enhance sponsorship opportunities if then every show ended with you singing something, like maybe a little Gordon Lightfoot.
Ooh. Well, that's a story for another day. And I'll say this, too, as well. Please rate and review us. Go on iTunes. Sports Beat KC, check it out. Rate and review us. That stuff matters. We'd appreciate it if you do that. We're going to keep dropping these podcasts. As long as the Chiefs are going, we're going to keep doing it. So for Sam, Vahe, and Blair, we thank you all for checking this out this week. And also, Happy New Year. Hit my music. Peace.